Tonight on the Black Channel, want to have a little bit of a conversation here. First, let me go ahead and address Juneteenth. Juneteenth, certainly a worthwhile event, certainly a worthwhile historical milestone. However, you all know that we don't believe in half measures or celebrating half measures when you haven't actually gotten the whole thing done. We don't celebrate to get nothing done. Juneteenth was not the end of slavery. The 13th, 14th, 15th Amendments have not been the end of slavery. It has forced it to evolve and become more sophisticated, but it's not the end of it. So I'm not going to deceive people into discussing something that is not real. I'm not going to discuss slavery as a past tense thing when it is very much a present tense thing. The program and the article I gave you last night about Marcus Taylor in Mississippi, whose constitutional rights have been flatly denied in overt chattel slavery, because of course you're there to work in prison, shows you that, yeah, the situation hasn't even been remotely resolved. Not even remotely. And then when you add all of the other societal prison issues, it tells you that, yeah, we ain't got nothing to celebrate. I'm not against my people's liberation. I live my people's liberation, but I am not going to take symbolic gestures. The methodology that's been used is to acknowledge that racism exists. To sit there and stand next to black folk now and white faces sitting there and looking all somber and openly acknowledging, oh, racism exists. Why, over the course of the last decade, because of our efforts, because of the framework laid by immortal ancestors such as Brother Neely Fuller, that the nation went from referring to racism as white supremacy so that it squarely placed the terms of the discussion in no ambiguous terms. So everyone was clear on what it was and what we're against and what needs to be stopped. Bellwether moments to be certain and very clear signs and steps of progress, undeniable. Juneteenth is not a part of that. That does not mean that it is meaningless. What I'm saying is I keep it in its proper context. I'm not going to have folks selling me symbolic gestures. To the extent that Juneteenth is observed, that is something that we observe, and we don't need anybody else for that. Folks, whether you're talking about Battle of the Bands, whether you're talking about anything out there, we don't need other folk to christen days for us. Other people celebrate things all the time and don't have to have the federal government, state government, or anybody else to sanction it. We don't require other people rubber stamping these things. As a matter of fact, one of the strongest symbols of your culture is when you do not require that. Let me tell you, when it comes to capitalism and enterprise and free trade, why, I am subject to Jewish laws. What? No, I meant that. Covered this before. As a filmmaker and documentarian, but also a general gearhead, I get a lot of gear out of New York. B&H Photo, Adorama. I get a lot of gear from them. Good folks to deal with, low prices, whole 9 yards. However, throughout the year, there will be times that their website is not available. You'll have banners up there on the website telling you, counting down to whatever religious observance they have. The place is obviously run by Orthodox Jews, and whatever Jewish observance or holiday that they may be entertaining at that time, there'll be a counter up there telling you it's counting down to it and that they will not be available for business. Folks, it doesn't mean the folk just won't be in the store. You won't even be allowed to use the website to order anything. Even the computer systems of the website will not be working to order anything. Everything stops. So if I want to order something, I can only do it when they're available. And if they're not doing it, ain't nothing gonna move. No federal government required, no federal government involved, no state government involved. These are the rules. And I don't have a problem with that. They run their business according to their observances, and I don't have a problem with that. So we're not talking about Christmas and Thanksgiving. We're talking about the various Jewish holidays throughout the year. So it actually happens on a pretty regular basis, actually. They'll only be down for like a day or two, but it happens on a pretty regular basis. But my point there is that these are their observances, and they don't look to other people to codify it or to endorse it or to enforce it. They do that themselves, and it's understood across the board. But they're not the only ones. For Muslims, when it's time for Ramadan, it doesn't have to be acknowledged or recognized federally. They are the ones who recognize it. It is uniform across the board. And you notice wherever you go, there's a change in certain people. It's Ramadan. I can go down the list, but you get the idea. So we are not here to let other people give us our marching orders or to give us the endorsements of what matters. It matters when we say it matters, and it matters when we are actually enforcing ourselves. It will matter when we say it matters as a group, and it will matter when we reinforce it ourselves. We don't need interlopers. Oh, folks are not going to be ready for this broadcast tonight. We do not need nor require interlopers. The things that we have created and made, what we have been duped and deceived and bamboozled into believing, is that it doesn't have any value unless somebody white comes, pats you on the head, and says, hey, that's pretty cool what you made. We need to recognize that everything that we have built and made, it is at its strongest when we appreciate the value of it singularly in and of itself. Whether it is our music, whether it is our acting, whether it is our sports, whether it is our food, whether it is our cultural milestones, those things were at their strongest when we appreciated it in and of itself, and they became diluted and weakened when we demanded other people to validate it. It was all downhill after that, which was the point. A product, an entity, a substance, a material does not become stronger when you dilute it with other things. It becomes stronger when you purify it. And when other people can successfully coerce you into diluting it, you have an issue. Nobody else sits around saying, you know what we ain't got is not valuable until black folks show up. Nobody else sits around and does that. They don't even act on that in any slight way. And the things that we have value when that is the same understanding that we bring to it, that we're enough. We don't need outsiders or interlopers to endorse Juneteenth. Just like we do not require interlopers or outsiders to endorse Malcolm X Day or Dr. King or Huey Newton or anything else. We don't require anyone else. We are enough in and of ourselves by ourselves. Something isn't valuable because it is mass produced. It's valuable when it is exclusive, when it's limited, when everybody can't get it, when everyone can't get in. That's what gives it its value. Some of the greatest con men in history, as a matter of fact, have used that as their strategy to be able to enact the schemes that they were running at the time. Bernie Madoff was able to get multimillionaires and billionaires to buy into his Ponzi scheme. But what most folk don't understand is that one of the tactics that he used was exclusivity. When people would approach him, he would routinely tell them, I can't get you. No, let me into the fund. I can't let you in. I got too many people. Too much is going on. Sorry, please. I can't do nothing for you. Call Merrill Lynch. Call them over there. I got too many people in it right now. So no, sorry. Bye. And they be calling him up. Hey, can we work something out? Man, I told you we don't have any room, man. We're full right now. You know, it is what it is. And then it'd be weeks or months later. Finally, he would let them know, well, I just dropped a couple of clients. We have an opening. We got one opening. I don't know for how long, but we got one. If you're still interested, we got one. Talk to you later. And when they came back, they were willing to give him 5 times as much money as they were offering before. They were just happy that the door had finally been opened. Exclusivity makes value, especially when you have a quality product. And we are the ultra luxury product of cultures across the board. We're not just the product, we're the ultra luxury one. Understand that. That value comes in and of us. It increases its value when we recognize it. We do not require a political party or a politician to endorse it. And just like they cannot endorse it, they also cannot delegitimize it. Talking to you, white supremacist Donald Trump. We do not require the Democrats to endorse it, and you cannot delegitimize it. So go ahead and down whatever pills or meth you own while you're sitting there on Truth Social because you're the only person there.
And deal with it.
Enjoy yourself on Truth Social since you're the only person using it. Nobody else can legitimize it, nor can they delegitimize it. When it is a cultural monument, other people cannot legitimize it nor delegitimize it. I want folks to understand that. So that when people come to you to sell you those things, that you don't look for that. I want to go a little bit deeper into it for you here. I want to go a little bit deeper. You see, things need to have a quality to them, but quality is a market definition, and it only matters to the extent that the people insist on it. When you talk about a Prada or a Gucci or a Fendi or a Louis Vuitton, and then you had the folks in China drop the dime on them and say, by the way, all these so-called Italian brands, these Italian luxury brands, and they ain't even making the stuff in Italy. Yeah, they're making it in China just like everybody else. But we put a higher premium on designer things. We put a higher premium on custom tailored things. A custom tailored suit has value. But it only has value to the extent that the customer base values a custom tailor suit versus off the rack. If the people simply do not value custom tailored, it doesn't have value. But if the people do, it's got value. Why did I say all that? Why did I say all that? Because if you want to lock down your culture, if you want to understand the building blocks of locking down the culture, I want to take us beyond what Dr. John Henry Clark gave us. So here on the Black Channel tonight, I want to take you to the next evolutionary step beyond what they told us. If you're going to have cultural products, I'm not worried about the Walmartization or the Chinization of things if we understand what it is. The reason for you to have a black brand is so that you understand where your Juneteenth flags come from. If you value such a thing. If you have black people making their own flags, you don't have to worry about China anymore. And that is worth having. You have watched now for decades. These other people will sell you stuff from them at a discount, but you can't sell them anything at a discount. They will drive across town to spend 3 times as much with their own people to buy the product from their own Asian people. So you see, they are unwilling to be your customers even for a quote unquote discount. It's deeper than money to them. And that is the exact same attitude that we need to have. So if you're talking about your Juneteenth flags or your Juneteenth ice cream or your Juneteenth t-shirts, the way in which you make sure that other people are not economically raping it is you lock that down socially. And socially means if you're going to have that, you make those yourself. Now that goes to the next step. You see, Asians did not always know how to make cars. Or stop the nonsense. Asians didn't always know how to make cars, how to make steel, how to make airplanes, how to make bicycles. That wasn't something that they created and came up with. But they learned it from other people as a product of necessity. And it really kicked off after World War II. If the people did not know that, it became incumbent on them to incorporate that into the national skill set. They did not outsource their skill sets to other people. They said, we got to take care of that here. So right now among black folk, we have to recognize the value of it. We have to recognize the value of a needle and thread. I'm taking it down to the brass tacks. We have to recognize the value of a needle and thread. Dr. John Henry Clark spoke about this when he said, if your people cannot even make diaper pins, much less diapers, that's inexcusable. We have to recognize the value of a needle and thread. We have to recognize the value of inks and dyes. We have to recognize the value of so-called basics. You see, you can sell a Ford Explorer for $30,000, but you're going to sell a Rolls Royce Cullinan for $500,000. Damn. Okay, what's the difference between the two? They're both automobiles. Yes, they are. But one of them is a mass-produced product, and the other one is a living symbol and work of art. The other one is a living symbol and a work of art. So you see, we put a higher premium of value on the other one, but the value is prescribed by the consumer. If the consumer does not actually value it, then it can't sell. Inversely, if the consumer does value a bespoke thing, handmade, specifically created by these people over here, then that dictates the price and the value. Which is why I started by saying your so-called Italian luxury brands made by the Chinese. The Italians are still claiming that they made it. So it is Italian in name only. but its value is based upon how much people value Italian-made things, or at least the idea of Italian, quote unquote, designer quality. And then the Chinese drop the dime. By the way, you ain't even getting that. You're not even getting that. But the value comes from you. So if you want to infuse value into these things, it comes from the ground up. We've watched as many brands have gotten their start and gotten themselves lifted off of us, off of our cultural cachet, off of our endorsement. Nike is just one among many. Nike is where it is today because it got the cultural endorsement from us. Not because their product is spectacular, not because their product is especially well made. It certainly isn't that. Have you all looked up the story of Nike? You want to look up what happened to the original waffle that Nike was using? I covered this story years ago. It sold at auction. It has the value that you prescribe to it. It has the value that you endorse in it. These things have the value that we put in them. If we say the value is there, it is there. And I said all that to bring you to this point. You don't want to go for knockoff soul food. You don't want to go for no knockoff. You want the real damn thing. You want it done by folk who know what they're doing. You see, when you have an expectation in your mind of what something's supposed to taste like, psychologically, your brain is like jumping off of a cliff. Your brain has already made the leap. And when you finally ingest or taste it and it's proper, that's like landing on a big soft pillow after jumping off of a cliff. But you see, up until that moment, you're in the middle of the air, you coming down, and all of us have had this experience where we ordered something and you were getting ready to put it in your mouth, and mentally you've already started tasting it and you know exactly what you're looking for, and then you take a taste of it and that's off. You feel like you just fell flat on the ground on your face. You felt like you were suspended in air. As soon as you tasted it, it felt like splat. Oh, I just slammed into the ground. Psychologically, you were waiting for something. Didn't even really realize it. As soon as you tasted it, you realized your expectations were dashed. At that moment, right there, we have all had that experience, and at that moment right there, you are ready to pay 2 or 3 times the price so you can get the real damn thing. At that moment right there, if you're in the right place, you're at the restaurant, if you were the female, and you've made all these expectations of what it's going to be, and then you taste it and it ain't right, at that moment right there, in order to have your proper expectations fulfilled, you would pay 3 or 4 times the price just to get exactly what's supposed to be right. That's value. That is recognizing and understanding the value right there. And when you understand that that doesn't just apply to the food, that translates to clothing, that translates to flags, that translates to music, that translates across the board. Across the board. And when we prescribe that value in and of ourselves, that's what you're looking for. Those among our people who have been able to successfully do that, whether it was Turkey Leg Hut, whether it's Sylvia's, whether it's Sweetie Pies, whether it's you get You get the drift. The only thing missing is we making the endorsement of it. And here's the critical part. Here's the critical part. Here is the critical part. Not settling for less. Damn! Folks are willing to pay, and truthfully speaking, people are willing to overpay. We overpay other people to get deficient things. What needs to happen in and of ourselves is being willing to pay for the real thing. Being able to pay for black cultural things that are made by black hands. I don't want to get all spiritual about it, but if I may for a moment, it matters when you're talking about Juneteenth and what you're holding there. Has that squared the circle? Has that been made and assembled by black hands? Has that been made and assembled reliably? Is there a brand that reliably makes it and assembles it from black hands so you've completed the entire circle? These are basic questions. Don't come to me whining, telling me about what Asians are selling. The only way that they would be able to do that is if you're off code. When those folks sell something to their people, they are on code. They should not be able to sell anything to you because you understand the spiritual significance of it. Therefore, you're looking for that which is made by the hands of the people who came from the fields, who came from the soil. You're looking for it from that. That's what makes it rare and special. Anybody can go get some junk flag made out of China. Having that made by foundational hands of the freedmen, that is a rare and exclusive thing. You go down there to Charleston, South Carolina. When you have these things handmade by the hands of the Gullah Geechee, when you recognize that these are the descendants of the people who have fought and bled and survived all of this, that has immeasurable value to it. You can't mass produce that in China. You can't mass produce that in America. That this is not some ordinary flag. Ordinary flags come out of China. They come in big ass boxes. They're sitting at the docks. You could burn them and make a bonfire that can be seen for miles. It doesn't matter. They'll make a great big ass mountain of them tomorrow. That doesn't have value. No, this other one over here, stitched hand by hand, line by line, stitch by stitch, sewing by sewing, by the hands of somebody who's the descendant of that. Understand something. For my folks over there in Asia, for my people over there in Asia, specifically in Japan, I don't want to go too far into this, but I got to go into it just a little bit. For my folks over there in Japan, you all understand that the majority of so-called katana swords that people buy are not actually katana swords. What? Don't believe me? Any of you can go look it up for yourselves. But by the way, the majority of so-called katana swords that you buy in Japan, not on eBay, not on Amazon, right there in Japan, the majority of them are not actually katana swords. Welcome to China, welcome to bootleg, so on and so forth. You see, if there are only a limited number of actual swordsmiths individuals who are the descendants who've learned this over the course of generations in their families, well, there's actually only a limited number of Japanese swordsmiths. Folk who actually know how to forge the swords, and it takes days and days of working. Folks who actually know how to do that, and there's actually a limited number of those. That's the issue. So when you realize that, that's what occurs, when you realize that that's what's going on, well, now that takes on a different significance. You're sitting up here smiling as you walked out of a store somewhere. Hey, I got a Japanese katana sword in Japan. How could I possibly lose? You lost. You see, if you didn't actually go to the source and you went to a place where it was made with the right hands and it's been properly endorsed, now once I tell you, hey, dude, you know that's one of those Korean and Chinese knockoffs, right? You know, that's one of those mass-produced products, bruh. Hell, you might have messed around and paid what you thought was full price for it. But if you actually want the real thing, there's only a certain number of people you can go to, and it could cost you $10,000, $20,000. If you want the actual authentic thing. Well, here's what I'm going to say. If you're going to go all that way, you're going to go all that way for a souvenir, then go all the damn way. If you're going to put this up over your mantle, if you're going to put this up over your bed, if you're going to put this up in the living room in the display case, why would you go all that way to come back and say, by the way, I got a knockoff? If you want one made by an authentic swordsmith to represent some connection to the land or the warriors or the lineage, well, then you got to go all the way. You got to go all the way. And if somebody tells you that you didn't get the genuine article, now all of a sudden you feel deficient. You're ready to throw that thing away. Authenticity matters. Authenticity matters. Authenticity matters. And I want us to be in the situation and understanding that, yeah, that's the value we need to place on it. That's the value that we need to place on it. When other people see that we value it as much, when other people see that we value it like that, and that we will not settle for less, there's the critical key, that we will not settle for less. You can have your knockoffs and stuff. They're just going to sit over there in the corner because everybody knows where to get the authentic article from. Everyone knows where to get that from. That's what used to be your Chanel bags and used to be your Louis Vuitton bags and no longer is. But that's the way the world works. The world keeps turning, but if you demand authenticity, that's how you drive out the bootleggers and the knockoffs and whatnot, because there's not a customer base for it. You either have the ability to make it or you don't count. So I wanted to give you all a lesson here about Juneteenth and how that actively actually works or should work. How it actually works, or at least how it should work. You see, if it's supposed to have a special significance to us, If it's supposed to have a special significance for us, then we are supposed to insist on the authenticity about that. People bled and died for this. Don't expect other people to take this more seriously than we do. Don't expect them to take it more seriously than we do. That is important. You know, usually I have a prohibition for RIPs. However, you do make an interesting point I think that is worth following up on. Value matters. Authenticity matters. Dealing with the hair that comes out of your head matters. Then nothing says that you devalue yourself more like buying into the clown car cult of putting non-black hair and stitching it on your head. You have a mental and an emotional problem and disorder if you doing that, and I said that.
And deal with it, nigga.
If in 2025, if you are still sewing people's hair into your head, you just have a mental disorder. And any man who takes up with you, he deserves every bit of schizophrenic chocolate-covered hell you give him, because he's a dummy too. It's 2025. This heifer is basically wearing the equivalent of MC Hammer pants on her bell bottoms on her damn head. It's 2025. You are out of your damn mind. You need to be in a rubber room if you are still sewing hair into your head in 2025. Nothing says side. You know what? That's not even side chick. That's just pass through. Y'all, I'm telling y'all, that's below. That's the bottom of the barrel right there. There's the main. There's the side chick. There's the jump off. And then there's the pass by. I found this one passing by. That heifer can have hair weave stitched into her ass. What? That doesn't matter. We don't have standards for the pass-by. That's the one you don't want to talk about. You don't want nobody to see it. You don't speak about it. You don't say nothing. You don't even hint to it. If you have a female who does not value the hair that grows out of her head, you send that bushika bastard baby back where she came from. Or at the very least, don't talk about it. What the hell you doing? We don't claim that. We're not claiming you. It's like the old Richard Pryor joke, the old cross-eyed, Sinead looking chicken. Remember me? You sitting somewhere and here she come up to you and, fake hair stitched all in and talking about Yaki and Remy. She better not be pregnant. I'll be damned. She come, you think you dodged her and she come rolling up on you. You're out somewhere with a chick you really like and you really want to claim. And, damn. Here comes old phony follicles up on you. What you out here doing? Remember me? I remember you. Fella's supposed to be like, I have no idea who you are. You know exactly who I am, James. How'd you know my name? Somebody stole my wallet. Hey, baby, remember I told you somebody stole my wallet a few weeks ago? I'll be damned. I thought I saw somebody look like Mr. Snuffleupagus at Walmart the other week. I didn't think nothing of it at first, but I'll be damned. Let me call 911. 911, I would like to report a crime. You supposed to be on that. Right there. What the hell is this? 2025. What kind of jackass female is still running around sewing hair into her head? What the hell are we paying for? Still got fools out here letting folks argue you down and get into arguments. Oh, it's really my hair. Oh, if you pull on it, it won't yank out. Oh, I can get in the shower with it. No, you can get the hell out of my house with it. You can get the hell on down the road with it. That's what you can do. You can do that. I mean, if we in a drought, you might do in a pinch. You know, just ain't nobody answering the phone. Okay, if nobody's answering the phone anywhere, it's like, I'll be damned. Well, you know the chicks with the fake hair, they always available. You can text her ass at 2 in the afternoon, 2 in the morning. She's going to answer. A chick with fake hair going to answer 24 hours a day. You will not have to wait more than 10 minutes to get that text back. That's the way that goes. Right there. Right there. That's what you get. No, if a female does not value the hair that grows out of her head, that's a big ass warning sign. It's 2025. We ain't playing that old Project Hood Rat stuff. Fellas, if you just overlook that, you deserve every bit of trouble you get. A woman's hair, when it is properly kept, is a luxury product. There's nowhere else on the planet that you can get that. That is a luxury product. Why do you think that women love running their hands through our beards, fellas? A man with a properly kept beard, that's a luxury product. Properly kept, properly groomed, properly moisturized, that's a luxury product. She can't get that anywhere. She's sitting with her girlfriends. I mean, if there is one with a beard, she don't want to hang out with her.
Auntie, chill.
Why do you think women go crazy over that? Because that is a luxury product. That's an exclusive product. She can't just get that any old place. So when a man values that, that speaks, that means something. She doesn't have to tell you what it needs to be. She's like, oh, he already knows. So not just his beard is a luxury product, he is a luxury product because he doesn't have to be told. A woman with properly done hair is a luxury product. A woman with proper nails is a luxury product. That's the point. And over the last 30 or so years, they brainwashed people into becoming mindless consumers. You buy whatever is right next to you. And the crazy part is, it's been said for over a century, we work for what we want and then beg for what we need. That's backwards. If you want to know how you culturally mark these things and put up cultural barriers, you're supposed to know the hands of the people who made these things. You're supposed to know the hands of the people who created these things. You're supposed to know the craftsman who did that. Having somebody who knows how to properly do your woman's hair, that's not just a stylist, that's a craftsman. When she actually knows what she's doing, knows how to deal with hair conditions, knows how to deal with breakage, knows how to make sure that what's coming out of your woman's hair is done properly. Anybody who's owned an exotic, to anybody who has actually owned a real exotic, that matters. The leather in your Ferrari, the leather in your Bentley, the leather in your Rolls Royce, the leather in your Aston Martin. That matters. It ain't like the leather in your Cadillac. No offense to the Escalade customers, and I am one, but there's a difference. There is a difference. What they doing over there in Cruise, England to make your Bentley, it's different. That's not the same. That's not the same leather you getting in your Explorer. It's different. Radically different. And you pay a premium for that because as soon as you getting it, as soon as you smell it, this is different. This is different. This is much better. Your chick is going off and buying somebody's dead hair. Do you understand what a psycho you have to be to try to argue somebody into saying that the dead hair that you bought from some bald Malaysian chick, that feels better than the hair that came out of her head? Fellas, let me explain something to you, to all the little sissified, lead pipe drinking bastard babies out there. Fellas, understand something. If your woman's natural hair feels worse than dead hair, you need a new chick.
And deal with it.
You ain't got to like it. If the hair that grows out of your woman's head with proper care, if that feels worse than the dead hair that y'all bought in a damn Kroger bag, you need a new broad. You need to check her pulse. She might be a zombie. She's getting her hair done. She's going to the stylist. She's using all the right stuff. And her natural hair feels worse than some dead hair in a bag. You might want to look into a side chick with hair that feels alive. You have my permission to pursue a side chick. I don't like to break up relationships. I'm not going to break yours up. I'm trying to help. I'm trying to enhance it. Yeah, if your woman's natural hair feels worse than some hair in a bag, you got somebody's hair in a price low bag and it feels better than the hair on her head properly treated, she might be the walking dead. Yeah, bro, she might be a White Walker. I'm not saying she's a zombie. I'm just saying you might want to check her pulse. You might have a White Walker. Damn, Jason, that explains why we can't get pregnant. Might explain a few things. So for you fellas out here with your White Walker weaves, what? Y'all got a chick with her White Walker weave hair on. Okay. All right. Yeah, walking deadhead. Okay. What are we doing, folks? What are we doing? Folks sitting around having silly conversations and silly arguments. You got some whacked out psycho telling you that she bought her hair and that's no problem with that. And you sitting there arguing about it. I know, I'm not really sure about that. I'm not really sure about that right there. You know what it is? Let me see if we can talk some sense. I ain't talking a damn thing to you. Let me go find a broad with some real hair. Let me find someone with some real hair. How you going to tell me that the hair you bought isn't as good as the hair that you bought is better than the hair growing out your head? So the skin you bought is better than the skin on your arm? What? Think about that for a few moments. Well, if the hair you bought is better than the hair growing out your damn head, well, then I guess skin that you bought would be better than the skin on your bones. Got to be. No, accept no substitutes. Accept no substitutes. The real thing only. Insist on quality. Insist on authenticity. Insist on it. Make no mistake about it and insist on it. because that is the hallmark and the foundation of what we are here to do. We have a cultural legacy and lineage that needs to be promoted and perpetuated, and that's what we are here to do. And that's why on tonight's program, I'm talking about that. I want to go ahead and give you a brief reminder, because understand, we are a luxury product. We're a luxury product and everybody can't get in. Folks are fighting for it. When we value the legitimacy of it and we make it a point of the legitimacy of it, folks start fighting to get in, including people who got no damn business being around. Hey, what's going on, Barack? What? Damn! Speaking of folks who ain't got no damn business being around. Hey, Barack. I just want to say here that for the mixed kids out there and whatnot, understand something. Just like we talk about the tethers being off code. For the mixed kids, please understand. It will be incumbent on you that you understand. It's like, okay, if you don't deal with the off code mixed kids, it leaves it to us. Brothers and sisters from around the world, if you see folks being off code, you need to step in and deal with that. Because you see, if you don't, we will. And then folks want to get in their feelings when we step in and we start dealing with them. And we start calling it out, then folks want to start whining. You need to be calling that out. If you don't want us to bring a sledgehammer, you better bring a scalpel. And if you can't be bothered or you refuse to because you weren't about upholding the brotherhood, well, you know, us light skins gotta stick together. Okay. Just understand, when we show up, we ain't bringing a scalpel. We're not bringing a scalpel. We're not bringing a screwdriver. We're not bringing a paring knife. All we got is this sledgehammer. That's all we got. And it's hard to get a sledgehammer over here, which means the problem was going on for a while. If we showed up and said something, that's because this problem been going on for way too damn long. So by the time we show up, we're done talking. And the sledgehammer is swinging. So if you don't want us to throw the sledgehammer, you get in there first and make sure you first on deck and in the trenches. And you're addressing it, because when we show up to address it, and sledgehammer, baby, like Peter Gabriel. Barack Obama said, in this Juneteenth, I'm inspired by the work of our Obama Foundation.
Nigga, what?
So here he brings his lanky, Virginia Slim smoking, scrawny screwed up ass, trying to piggyback off of Juneteenth so he can sit up here and hawk his corny ass foundation, which don't do a damn thing. By the way, his so-called foundation, which doesn't do anything. So he's really just soliciting money is what he thinks he's doing. He ain't doing nothing. On Juneteenth, we celebrate freedom and recommit ourselves to the work that remains undone. Yeah, the work that you didn't do, nigga. Yeah, the work remains undone because you didn't do it. So yeah, I know it's undone, and you know it's undone because you left it undone because you didn't do it. You and Eric Holder were defending every white supremacist that came by and giving them a pass. You and Eric Holder, y'all got some work done just to undermine us. But yeah, the real work remained undone because of you. We remember that even in our darkest hours, there's a cause to hope for tomorrow's light. If y'all don't get this damn narrator from the frickin' Dark Crystal up out of here, we don't need somebody doing the preamble to some 70s sci-fi space opera. Even in our darkest hours, there's cause to hope for tomorrow's light. Who the hell do you think you're talking to, man? Who the hell is he talking to with this gobbledygook? Who are the old niggas who still get off on hearing this? Who the hell are you people who still think this is fly? This is corny and crazy as hell. It was when he was president. It's even worse now. Talk about cringe. This is the mess you expect to hear from Master Yoda. What? You expect to hear some Buddhist monk in a kung fu movie say this. You have killed me, Darth Zul, but one day a new warrior shall rise from our ranks. Let me chop this nigga up right quick. Stop with all this babble you give me. Tell your new warrior, show up when he do. I'm killing you now. I don't need to hear your damn speech. All right, when the new fella show up, I'll chop him up too. Go ahead and behead this nigga. Even our darkest hour. It's about to get real dark here in just a moment. Yeah, it's dark hour. Yep. About to be a whole bunch of dark. You know. That's me. Y'all better be glad I'm not the villain in one of these movies. I'm like, yeah, you ain't even get this speech off. Folks would be mad as hell at the movies if I was the villain, because, yeah, the good guys ain't never going to get their speech out. As soon as you start that speech, all right, off with your head. That's Barack Obama. Here comes Kamami Harris. On Juneteenth, we celebrate Black freedom. I thought you were the Asian.
Auntie, chill.
Freedom, resilience, culture, and the enduring strength of community across generations. We acknowledge our nation's full history and the long, ongoing fight for freedom and justice for Black Americans. I thought you were the Asian. As a United States Senator, I was proud to co-sponsor a bill to make this day a federal holiday. As Vice President of the United States of California, it was my honor to stand beside President Biden.
Nigga, please.
All right, baby, you sure you want to do that? It's too soon, Kamala. Too soon, baby. Oh, y'all, she went jumping out the window. Too soon. Too soon, ma'am. Nobody gave her the memo. I guess she figured enough time has passed. Too soon. Too soon. She didn't get the memo, y'all. Too soon. Too soon. As he signed that bill into law, today and every day, let us celebrate the heroes of this movement and the work that lies ahead. Okay. Yeah, buddy. My point is, this is a luxury product. It's a luxury product. When you value it, safeguard it, promote it, purify it, distill it, and make sure you maintain it, it is a luxury product that other people are looking to fight to get into. You don't need other people's endorsement when you have something valuable enough that other folks are fighting to get into. And that brings me to my next one here. In case you needed anything more, Wanted to take a moment here to go over this. I was going to get into it last night. Things got a little hectic. I wanted to go ahead and get into it here last night. Tia Mowry. Tia Mowry, one half of Tia and Tamara. Well, old Tia Mowry wants you all to know. Happy Juneteenth. Today we honor the strength, resilience, and beauty of the Black community. I'm grateful to be part of a culture that is powerful, creative, joyful, and unapologetically strong. Unapologetic. Almost 2 decades ago, when the Black Channel began, we relentlessly started off the program with unapologetic, unadulterated, and absolutely uncompromising. At some point, we may see that make a resurface. At some point, we may have that resurface. But yes, I am honored to have introduced unapologetic into the national lexicon associated with what we do and who we are. Now, if we can just get everybody to latch on to the uncompromising. So, Tia Mowry. Tia Mowry wants you to know that there were times I didn't feel black enough. There were times I thought I'd never make it. What? Times she never thought she'd make it. She didn't know she'd make it through. So she wanted to have an opportunity here to tell you there were moments I questioned where I belonged. Even as a mixed kid, I knew I was black. But growing up, the world around me didn't always reflect that back to me. Interesting. I had to go on a journey to fully understand who I was and what it meant to walk through this world as a black woman. As a kid, I noticed the difference. Now, I would be negligent if I did not acknowledge. Is that mama back there? Yes, sir. You got to understand that dark skin is something that some women want to go around and leverage. That dark skin is something that some females are like, wait a minute now, slave play is still in season. Slave play is still in season. So I just thought I'd go ahead and remind you there that, by the way, dark skin is wasted on some folks because the children are letting you know that they were not taught these things. Well, you can see the imbalanced mind that created it. When I was with my mom, who's black, in name only, she was treated with suspicion. Clearly, she didn't hold a grudge about it. Not receiving an application for our dream home. I guess she figured the white dude could handle that. Questions in first class. Then she went straight to no class. But with my white dad, people were welcoming. That's when I realized how much the color of your skin shapes the world, how the world treats you. Now, here's the issue here. That's not an issue when you come among us. So when you say the world, you mean white society. And non-foundational, by the way. So that's what you're referring to. You're referring to that. Finding my place took time. In high school, everything felt cliquey. Grunge kids, black kids, mixed kids. I didn't always know where I fit in, but deep down, Deep down, I always knew where I stood. It made me want to be loud about my pride, to be black and proud, to celebrate where I come from, and to use my voice and platform to make sure my community is seen, heard, and celebrated. I didn't know that she was really 10 toes down and stomping for us like that, folks. This is news to me. I hadn't really seen her out there like that before now, so all right. Okay. Yeah, I think it's obvious where the mother comes from. I think it's obvious. What's understood ain't gotta be explained. Do I gotta spell it out? When you look at the mother and the father, you can't look at them and see what it is? Boy, she put all these slides on here too. She is explaining. Representation matters. What? I'll never forget the messages I got. Quote, I never saw someone who looked like me on TV until you.
Nigga, what?
Ma'am, you were the first lightish skinned female they saw on TV. Did they just buy a TV in the 90s? Obviously, that's a person who hadn't owned a television in the previous 3-4 decades. I never saw someone who looked like me on TV until you. So just the previous 3-4 decades, just out the window, just gone. Okay. All I can assume is they did not own a television until your show was on the air. That's all I can assume. Moments like that helped me fully land in who I am and who I stand for. Who you stand for. All right. My roots run deep. My grandmother came from Eleuthera, the Bahamas, but our roots trace back to Ghana and Nigeria. So, folks, I'm just like, when you get fully matured here, it's like, do I really got to explain what you're looking at? Come on. We were taken, displaced, and yet survived. There is strength in that, and I carry that strength with me every day. Now, as a mother, I'm passing that pride on. My children will never need external validation. My job is to remind them daily, you are worthy, you are beautiful, and your blackness is powerful. All right, I'm going to be as diplomatic about this as I can be. You know what? Why don't I just go ahead and stop here right now? Because I guess I just need to stop here for just a few moments then. Because I'm like Corey Hardrick, bruh. All right, Corey, you're along for the ride. My children are already feeling the weight of the world. At 5, my son was called a monkey. He was told his skin was ugly, and that's why I speak up, so they know they are loved, valued, and protected. Juneteenth is a celebration of freedom, but it's also a reminder that we're still pushing, still fighting, still rising. I carry that with me in my work, my purpose, and my motherhood. I am black, I am proud, I am loud with my love for this community. And I'll keep using my voice to create space for others to be proud too. Happy Juneteenth. Okay. I am not going to question her sincerity. I am not going to question her authenticity. However, I do have some questions. I couldn't help but notice that I don't think that we see anything like this from a decade ago. Certainly not 2 decades ago. I don't remember her speaking like this then. I don't remember her acting like this then. And apples usually don't fall too far from the tree. I take a look at her mama. I take a look at her sister. So maybe she's up in a hard scrabble situation. I mean, when you come from schizophrenic homes, man, it can be tough. I'm not thrilled about what I see here. I'm not thrilled about what I see here. I am not thrilled about what I see here. I don't like things that appear to make a caricature of things. I don't like stuff that appears to make a caricature of it. If this ain't the life, if you ain't living this life, don't cosplay about it. Just be who you are and be what you are, but don't cosplay about it. Because for the rest of us, this ain't a game and it ain't a joke. We have to live this. We gotta live this. And we make a space for things while other folk make it exclusive. Asians have not made a space for their mixed children. Asians have not made a space for their mixed kids. You can't go in Asian society. They didn't make a space and still have not to this day. They have made no space for their mixed children. The mixed kids are on their own. The mixed kids are on the outside looking in. The mixed kids can win Wimbledon and can get Olympic gold medals, and you're still just the mixed kids. See, I don't need people to claim being black when things are hard. When you're being excluded by other people, and then all of a sudden I'm hearing black, blackity, black, blackity, black. Okay. Yeah, that's not the time I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you when you've done got that record deal. I want to hear from you when you've gotten that movie contract. I want to hear from you when you've gotten that television show deal. I want to hear from you when you've gotten that big money contract. I want to hear from you when you're getting that Grammy Award. I want to hear from you when you're getting that Emmy. I want to hear from you when the rest of the society is talking about how great they think you are. Well, that's when I want to hear you do the blackity, blackity, black thing then. I want to hear it then. You know, when these other folk are handing out rewards and benefits and making it easy to be a mixed kid, that's when I want to hear it. I want to hear it when you've got a line of zaddies lined up to you and you saying it then. I want to hear it then. I want to hear that then. There was recently a singer, I want to say it was. She's one of these light-skinned chicks. She's the flavor of the month right now. I think got the baby by somebody. She was on somebody's podcast. I don't think it was Logan Paul or whatever, but they were asking her about white men, and she said, "No, I don't do white men. I can't get over the pink thing. Told them straight out, just like, I don't do white men. I don't do the pink thing." I'm like, okay, that's very blunt. But by the same token, I'm like, okay, they were taking her temperature. They were taking her temperature to see what she was about. They were taking her temperature to see what she was about. And she was like, yeah, no disrespect, but that's not my thing. So she's young, she's pretty, she's at the height of her popularity, she's at the height of all that, and she just straight out told him, yeah, that's not for me. You see, when you stand 10 toes down, when you got something to lose, If you can only be 10 toes down after the TV deals are gone, after the record deals are gone, after the movie deals have dried up, after the accolades are gone, well, anybody can stand up then. Yeah, when everybody's coming at you and disregarding you and neglecting you, yeah, you ain't got nothing to lose. It doesn't cost you anything. Was that K. Michelle? I know I've had to put the leather on that backside a couple of times on my program, but I don't remember if that was K. Michelle or not. But if that was, I'm like, okay. It's easy to do this when there are no benefits to be gained and you ain't got nothing to lose because nobody's offering you anything. Now, there's the thing I'm taking a look at is, by the way, were you talking like this when they were throwing around movie contracts and television deals and endorsements? Were you talking like that then? You know, when you could have had an opportunity to stand up for others. My whole thing is, did you do it when you had an opportunity to stand up for others? That's the thing I'm taking a look at. That's the thing I'm taking a look at. That right there. So when we winning, I want y'all to understand what that is. When we're winning, everybody is going to come crowd around you when you're winning. When the wind is at your back. Yeah, everybody going to do that. Everybody going to do it. Everybody's going to come to you when you stand 10 toes down and you're winning and things are going great. Everyone's going to do that. It's when things are rough and things are hard and arrows are slinging. If they got a safe place to hide, all of a sudden you're on your own. All of a sudden you're on your own. So recognize where value comes from. So for Tia, baby, you got a long way to go there. You got a long way to go. Because I'm going back through the files and I'm checking to look and see. By the way, did she have this energy 20 years ago, 10 years ago? Did she have this energy then? If she had this energy then, that would be one thing, but I don't remember it that way. I don't remember her being Miss Juneteenth. I don't remember her being Miss I'm Black and I'm Proud. I don't remember that. And let me go back to this first part up here at the beginning. Because here's the problem here. And for the ladies out there, it can be tough on the ladies because the problem is when you're a female and if you're willing to give some sexual access, you might be able to make things a little bit easier for yourself. So the temptation starts to kick in. Temptation starts to kick in that if you can make things personally easier for yourself, yeah, damn everybody else, I found a lane to make things personally a little bit easier for me. So if you're willing to give up some sexual access, you can ease things on yourself just a little bit. Just a little bit. There were times I didn't feel black enough. If that was an issue, that wasn't an issue that came from us. Perhaps it came from the household that taught you through word and deed that blackness was a negative. Perhaps it's from the household that taught you through word and deed that blackness was a bad thing. Perhaps that's where you picked it up from. Let me explain something to you here, baby. Being black ain't never been easy. It has never been easy. When you are black, you are never encouraged to feel like it is enough. Being black has always been a struggle, has always been a hardship. It has always been a burden to be carried. Ain't nobody made being black easy. Being black has always been something that you had to fight for your place and strive for, regardless. But you see, it's not easy. You start noticing it more if you feel like there should be an inside lane, where you get special dispensation, if you're mixed or whatever. Some Negroes think that that's something to be worshipped. Damn! And so sometimes you have the temptation to see if you can trade on that. See if you can make things a little bit easier for yourself. And the next thing you know, now other people start questioning you. Because they seen you do some funny style stuff. And they seen you say some funny style things. And they've seen you hanging in some funny style places. Now folks start questioning your credentials. See, when you're in white circles and you can kind of leverage that dark skin a little bit if somebody is buying into some little dark feminine skin, and now you might have something to deal with. But when you come among us, what'd you say? That credit card don't have as many funds in it. That currency has been devalued, and you can't leverage that like you would elsewhere. Well, yeah, but then you come back over here and then folks start saying, by the way, didn't I see you over there with some other folks? Didn't we see you over there with some other people? You thought we weren't paying attention? You thought we didn't see? You thought we didn't notice? You thought we didn't hear you playing Vanessa Carlton?
And deal with it.
You thought we didn't notice you playing Freddie Mercury? Damn! You thought we didn't notice that? Went through your phone and found that Trace Adkins and, what is this? What is this? Found that Billy Ray Cyrus, your achy breaky ass. All right. Okay. We saw some things, looked a little funny style, and things didn't work out over there. They come tiptoeing back over here. Hey, boo. So I just want to let folks know that, by the way, when you got the mixed kids saying that they didn't feel black enough, let's be clear about something right here. You got to prove your credentials to the people. Furthermore, you have to qualify to be accepted among us. You don't get to just walk up among us and talk about, hey, how y'all doing? Everything is who goes there, where you from, what you representing. We are a people under siege and oppressed and occupied, and we have had an endless parade of Trojan horses and Manchurian candidates and turncoats, usually looking a certain way, usually having a certain complexion, where they think they can bounce from one side to the other. So hell yeah, we gonna check the paperwork. Don't think you gonna walk through that door and be given a throne to sit on, baby. You got to earn your thrones over here. You got to get ready to knuckle up over here. Ain't nobody giving you nothing over here. Not even Blackness. You ain't gonna be given that. And I've spent the last 3 decades of my life, going on 4, to make it very clear that, by the way, I want to make it harder to get those credentials. Everybody should be required to put in their damn work. Go on the damn record. Prove you got a track record that stretches back not years but decades. No more folk walking through the door. Hey, don't I look enough like you right here? Hi. Oh, hello there, Negroes. I can sing some Al Green. And then we play Barack Obama's favorite music. We did that last year. How the hell that turn out? No, you got to prove yourself. And by the way, I don't respect and I have no regard for anybody who doesn't want to prove themselves. This is something worth fighting for. This is something worth proving yourself for. This is something worth showing your documentation and your track record for. And a problem that we tend to have with a lot of the light-skinned kids, I got to be brutally honest here tonight, brothers and sisters around the world, a lot of the light-skinned kids think they're going to get a privilege because they're used to some handkerchief-haired old niggas handing out privileges. Baby, ain't no privileges over here. It's black all the way. Ain't nothing but a hard time. Go see if you can kiss some ass and get some privileges somewhere else. We ain't got no asses for you to kiss to get no privileges over here. We call ourselves the field Negroes because we came up from the fields. Wasn't nothing easy about it, not gonna be anything easy about it. Not at all. So some of the light-skinned kids might be taking a bit of an offense. Some of the light-skinned kids might be taking a little bit of an offense when this comes up because they might feel like, well, this should be easy for me. It's not going to be easy over here. Not going to be easy. Not at all. Nor should you expect it to be. You should be pleased and honored to show your scars, to show your difficulties, to show what you've overcome. You should be pleased to show that. In the chat room, Jonathan Ford needs to give us a call up here on Zoom. Very glad that you've asked that. Since you have something you'd like to ask here, by all means, this is not like any other place out there. So glad you wanted to ask some questions here. So let's go ahead and move you to the front of the line. And you can ask as much as you would like. No reason we shouldn't have that. There's the link right there. Mr. Ford has 2 minutes to be on Zoom. There is the link for you there right there, Mr. Ford, pinned at the top of the chat room. You can sit back, smile, and dial. And you'll have your opportunity to ask all the questions you want to directly. Now you can have the opportunity to ask directly. It is not easy, nor is it supposed to be easy. We are not supposed to make it simple. It is not simple, nor is it supposed to be simple. Our freedom was not given to us, and we are still fighting for it to this day. So to any of the little pampered children who think that they're going to get pampered privilege and think that they're being oppressed and put upon because they're being required to demonstrate that they're not yet another Trojan horse and not yet another turncoat looking to be black when convenient. We got no use for you. We have no use for you. To anybody who is offended when they're told, hey, look here, what's your track record? Where you stand on this? What's your position? To anybody who's got a problem with that, we don't have any use for you. So if you take offense at people saying where you're from, what's the paperwork, you got a problem with that. You don't belong. Period. You don't belong here. And that's real talk. I got somebody on Zoom here. The only person I'm looking for is Mr. Ford on Zoom. So if there's anybody on Zoom except other than Mr. Ford, this is not your moment. So I'm not opening up the Zoom for general callers right now. The only person we want to talk to right now is Mr. Ford. Since he had questions, I guarantee I have answers. Guarantee I have answers. So anybody who is on Zoom, if you are not Mr. Ford, this is not the place for you at all. You can call in a little bit later. I want to talk about this hardship thing for just a moment, because some folks may find that to be abrasive, and they might find that to be a little troublesome. They might find that to be, oh, Jason, we got to make it hard for people. And you're talking about things being hard and that you want it to continue being hard. And, yes, I mean exactly what I said. Now I want to explain to you why. You see, for my audience members from the dominant society, for those of you who have read Plato's Republic, there were several things that Plato was attempting to communicate in the Republic. There were several lessons he was trying to teach about society then. And one of the lessons that he was trying to teach was about the aristocracy. He was trying to teach about the aristocracy and the oligarchs. And there was a lesson that he was trying to teach. He was trying to teach the oligarchs that society does not need that kind of thing, that oligarchy is bad for society, And then he made his penultimate point that ultimately oligarchy is bad for everyone, including the oligarchs and the pampered people themselves. Because you see, ultimately, you will raise your children to be soft. When you are privileged and looking for privilege, you will ultimately raise your children to be soft. And the children of the soft will inevitably be overthrown and devoured by the children of the hard.
And deal with it, nigga.
Those who raise their children to be soft and pampered, just understand that those children that you've raised and you coddled, you must not love your bloodline or your children very much, because all you're doing is raising them to eventually get overrun by the children of the hard. That's all you're doing. That is all you're doing. And nobody told you that right there, so that is not what I'm looking for. We are not here to make it easy, nor will it be easy. It is not intended to be. We are an ultra luxury product. We're the elite. You have to earn the right to stand among the survivors. You got to earn the right to stand among us. The first thing we're going to question is whether or not you even one of us. Because you see, here's the issue, Tia. I want you to understand, anybody who's, you didn't feel black enough, baby, we taking a look at lineage. You want to know why lineage matters? Lineage matters because, understand something, to every man who has gotten divorced from some ignorant, hard-headed ass female who is self-destructive, for every man who's had children by some self-destructive, ignorant female, you recognize you got a problem. Because she is raising your children, whether she's in the house with you or whether she gets the kids part-time. She's raising your kids, and the man's worst nightmare is to have some absolutely intolerable, absolutely unbearable female, and then that female is raising your daughters. And now you wake up one day and realize, I'll be damned, my daughter's got too much of they funky ass mama in them. Damn! You talking about being a father, you talking about being the head of household, you talking about raising a legacy, and then one day you wake up and realize, I'll be damned, your daughter's got mannerisms and speech patterns and attitudes. I'll be damned, she got too much of a damn mama in her. She's been contaminated. Got too much of a mammy in her. I'm a man without biological children, and I know this. So you see, Tia, we got to question you, ma'am. Because we got to find out where you stand at and how you built and how you cut. Because we're questioning whether or not you got too much of your mama in you. We're not going to make a seat at the table for another generation of that. So yes, we're going to have to put you through the paces and check the paperwork, because you see, if we let it slide, then we could end up looking at the situation like your sister. Sister. Because we take a look at your sister, and then she got plenty of her mama in her. Your sister got plenty of her mama in her. And you were raised in the same household, so you see, oh yes, you are suspicious. Oh, absolutely you are suspicious. You damn right. You gonna have to prove to us that you and your sister are not birds of a feather and that you ain't got your mama in you. You gonna have to prove that. You don't get the assumption of innocence. Nah, you got to prove that to us. That's the way that goes. And that's the way it's going to stay from the cradle to the grave. We could wake up any damn day and you decide, you know what, let me see if I can leverage this being mixed thing. You saw Barack Obama, and then Kamala Harris thought we was the world-class fools. Y'all folks up here and run undercover for years and decades. Black when convenient, and then when there's an opportunity presenting itself. Enough of that, we ain't gonna get sold short. No, baby, your paperwork gonna have to get checked from the cradle to the grave. And if you putting on a front and pretending, you gonna have to keep up that front from the cradle to the day they bury you. That's what it's gonna have to be. If you don't like that, get your ass on the first damn Uber back to where you came from. We got plenty of suspect half kids over here. We don't need no more. So if you don't like that, get the first thing with wheels back where you came from. But if you want to use these terms and talk about that, even though this doesn't even really apply to your lineage, by the way. What? Juneteenth is not an African observation, by the way. It's not an African observation. It's not a Caribbean one. I just wanted to put that out there. This would be like me talking about Boxing Day. Damn! For the folks out there who understand Boxing Day, if you don't, look it up. This would be like me talking about Boxing Day and trying to adopt that. But by the way, ma'am, this would be like me trying to adopt Carnival. This would be like me trying to adopt Carnival. So if you're going to use that thing right there, by the way, first of all, wanted to put in there that little addendum. But second of all, baby, you got to earn the right to do that. Y'all let too many of these damn politicians fool you and deceive you into thinking that we're in a popularity contest. And that this is just yet another thing that you can go post on your social media that gives you a reason to put content on your social media. Our damn survival is not content for social media. And if you don't qualify for this, that's your ass. But you're not going to use this as something you flick out there to get posts on social media. So it ain't going to be nothing but a hard time and a hard way to go. That's all it's going to be. That's all it's ever going to be. And we better keep it that way. Because please understand something. In the world of white supremacy, they make things difficult for their children when they want to put them in charge. They put them through hardship. They put them through difficulty. They don't shield them from the world like that. They want to make sure that their kids understand that, baby, what we built, everybody and their mama is standing around looking to take it. And we don't want to end up like the Vanderbilts. Damn! So it doesn't matter how unseriously you take the world. Everybody around us, we stole everything we got, and everybody around us is looking to steal it back. We took everything we got, and everybody around us is chomping at the bit to take it back. So if you ain't built for that world, you gonna get took under. And you'll notice in their own way, they do that with their kids. Trump has done that with his kids. The Bushes did that with their kids. You notice in their own ways, they do that. They put them out there in environments. They let them fend for themselves. Yeah, because you're going to have to learn how to fly this your damn self. The money is only going to protect you so far. Having money will only protect you for so far. We built the empire. Now you got to keep the empire. With a never-ending stream of challenges at the gates. We gave it to you. The question now is, can you hold it? It'll be very easy to lose it. However, you might disagree. Therefore, the link to the Zoom has been pinned at the top of the chat room. You are all very much welcome to go ahead and join us for that. I'd like to thank everyone who's contributed to support tonight's program on PayPal, Super Chat, Venmo. Thank you very much here to Terrell Evans. Salute you, Jason. Keep up the good fight. Thank you very much. Erwin Davis, getting the information the white media won't talk about. You barely believe that. To my man, Mr. Richburg, thank you very much for your support here as well. We appreciate that. We're going to go ahead and take a very brief commercial, non-commercial break. When we come back, we'll probably take some calls from you and more. This is the Black Channel.
When you visit MrBeTheTeacher.com, you can get a copy of his award-winning book, Guidelines for the Successful Student. While you're there, grab one of his newest tunes along with fun and educational lyric videos.
Never give up, don't worry, never give up, study. In order to
times 1 is 2, 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 3 is 6. 2
now swap names, he, she, they, and we. Simplify the Daddy divides as the father and guide. Money multiplies and shares on what they buy.
You can also acquire his tutoring services via varsitytutors.com or tutor.com. If you wish to speak to Steve Burgess directly, you can do so through MrBeTheTeacher.com.
The Honey Badger and the Mongoose is a children's story for the family of how a honey badger and mongoose fight an evil alliance of venomous cobra snakes and hyenas that overhauls the balance of the savannah. The Big Five. The honey badger demands reparations. Will the Big Five give the honey badger reparations? Can the evil alliance of cobras and hyenas be stopped? The best new price for the hard and soft cover is at www.thehoneyBadgerandthemongoose.com. You can also find this book at Amazon, Audible, and Kindle.
Order yours today to experience all the benefits of Ash Kickin' Body Butter. With skin so smooth and soft, you'll thank us for it. Shop Ash Kickin' online. That's ASHKICKIN.com.
Hi, this is Brenda Starr, creator of Poetry with a Purpose and author of the book Pressed But Not Crushed. Pressed But Not Crushed is an anthology of political poems that address current and historical issues in American descendants of slave population and African American population. The book describes slaveries and its residuals, Jim Crow segregation, social depredation, and other relevant issues to American descendants of slaves and African Americans, including the current political climate that does not address our issues.
This is the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. Very glad to be with you all here this evening. And we've opened up the link for the Zoom, so you can go ahead and give us a call in anywhere around the world where you are. You have the option of being able to go ahead and give us a call. As always, please make sure that you have your camera and your microphone turned on just to make sure we don't have any trolling issues. The internet will not see you. You will not be put up on YouTube for folks to see you. However, just to make sure we don't have any trolling issues, when you're calling on Zoom, make sure you have your camera and your microphone turned on for us there so we can make sure we address anybody and everybody's issues forthwith. We are talking tonight about Juneteenth. I mentioned about the bombings of Iran, but I'm only doing that for the reasons I mentioned last night, which is, by the way, do not expect us to change the subject. The subject is still reparations. It will remain there. Let me go ahead and get Maurice here on Zoom. Maurice, what's on your mind?
How you doing, Brother Black? How's everything?
All right, brother, what's on your mind?
Okay, what I want to basically ask is first, do you feel that we should basically try to create legislation that will basically address institutional racism in this country? And the second thing is, like, basically, shouldn't we basically have, I want to find out your perspective, we should basically have something where we can kind of like assess all the money that was basically taken as far as slavery was concerned, to basically prove without a reasonable shadow of a doubt that we're owed reparations.
Okay, let me go ahead and address both of your questions with the exact same answer. Those two things are not necessary because they're already there.
Okay.
American slavery is one of the most documented events in history. There's a reason why we can look up where folks came from. It's one of the most documented events in human history. Mm-hmm. So with that being the case, we already know where all the bodies are. We already know where all the links are. We already know where the paper trails go. Mm-hmm. Legislation. The laws are already on the books, brother.
Okay.
The laws are already on the books. We've had multiple civil rights acts and voting rights acts and anti-discrimination. The laws that are supposed to protect us are actually already there. The issue has been who has been enforcing them. Mm-hmm. That was the issue I brought up last night. The laws to criminalize bringing illegals over here, those are already on the books. It's already a crime to do it. The government just doesn't enforce it. So I want us to have a clear understanding of exactly what it is we're trying to do. The reason why we didn't go along with the con job of, HR 40 and a reparations study, ain't no need to study it. Mm. Everybody already knows what the hell they took from us. You got an endless chain of documents. This would be like Jewish people saying we need to have a study about the Holocaust. How many movies Steven Spielberg got to make? So everybody already knows it is. We just play this game. Well, let's play dumb. No, the real question is, okay, the enforcement of it. So that's what we're pushing for now. There may be some additional legislation we can have to address some other things necessarily, hate crimes and stuff, in order to specify them. But to be totally honest, even with specification, once again, okay, even if you get, quote, the law made, the ultimate trick bag is, okay, you can make us make it a law, but can you make us enforce it? So ultimately, that's where you have to understand you're ending up at.
Let me just say one more thing. I know, like, when it comes to cultural psychology, that the vast majority of whites, they think differently from us. And that's one of the reasons why I think that they even though they know that they're wrongful for different things too, they see things backwards, where they see, like you talking about Megyn Kelly, about the fact that she, sees it as like it's us is basically doing things versus it's basically them doing different things. And I think that's basically what, when it came to Dr. King and Malcolm X, that they were basically dealing with, because that's basically psychology. And I know a lot of times that there are different psychologists and sociologists that basically have studied their psychological mindsets, but it's like, they're trying to basically push back on any type of advancements for basically to do what's right by our people.
Well, look, when it comes to white society, I've always told you all that there are only two types of black people. Don't get fooled. There are only two types of black people. Black people who understand that white supremacy exists and fight it, and black people who understand that white supremacy exists and go back to picking the cotton. In white society, you only have two types of white people. Those who understand the system of white supremacy that's been created and that they're beneficiaries of, and they're not okay with it. And those who understand everything that's happened in the system we're in, and they're all right with it. Now, that's the thing that we have to accept. The evil of the Megyn Kellys and the Tucker Carlsons and the Ben Shapiros is not that they're ignorant of history. They know it as well as we do. They wouldn't be defending it if they didn't. They are proud of it. You call it colonialism, barbarism. They call it conquest and settling.
Yeah.
That this is just the law, this is the nature of the beast, and this is exactly what needs to happen, and this is a great and wonderful thing, and oh well, you got to break a few eggs to make an omelet. Never mind the fact it was never their eggs. So the fact that you paid the cost for this, they understand this, and their position is that they have the right to do that, and your suffering is simply the cost of this wonderful thing to acquire, and thus it doesn't matter. Your suffering is irrelevant. They acknowledge its existence, but then they say, but it's irrelevant. So it's not that they don't know these things or see these things. They endorse it. They endorse chattel slavery. They endorse barbarism. They endorse that because they are still in empire conquest mode. So this is why they can tell you Kyle Rittenhouse killing unarmed people was self-defense.
Yeah.
Anthony Carmelo is cold-blooded murder.
Yeah.
Simply based on the races of those involved. Kyle Rittenhouse was enacting conquest. Oh, Carmelo Anthony is putting a stumbling block in the way of their conquest thing. Oh, wait a minute now. So it's not that they don't see the evils. We've been over this multiple times before. Nazi Germany, there was nobody in Nazi Germany who did not know what they were doing. And I'm talking about the average citizen. They knew what they were doing. Leopold, Belgium, they knew what they were doing. We have to get it through our heads. These folk were not ignorant of what they were doing. They didn't understand the severity of it. They didn't really know the cost of it. They're chopping off hands and feet. Well, they just didn't really know that was going on. Yes, they did.
Yeah.
And they were okay with it. And they're still okay with it today. The problem that they have is there's too many of us making noise who are not okay with it. Now, that's the thing they're really fighting to deal with. How do we shut up all these people who have gotten progressively louder who are not okay with it? But brother, they are proud of it. They're proud of Washington. They're proud of the slaves. They're proud of Jefferson. They're proud of the slaves. They're proud of the sexual conquest of Sally Hemings. They're proud of they're proud of the whole damn thing. All of it. This is what do you think Ron DeSantis is doing down there in Florida? Stop talking about these things like they're negative. We want to make it illegal to talk about these things like they're negatives. Chattel slavery is a negative. Nope. Great, grand, wonderful. He sees exactly what you see. And as far as he's concerned, they are carrying out manifest destiny, their divine prerogative. This sounds like Israel. Guess what? Birds of a feather. This is our divine prerogative, and anything that happens to you, that's okay. Not only is it okay, it's applaudable. So it's not just that it's okay. We're standing up and cheering. Yeah, you're getting it and you need to be getting it. This is the machine working correctly. Remember, every time that something bad happens to us, they stand up and start cheering because that is the machine working correctly. Every time that we stop suffering, they immediately all spring into action. Why? The machine has stopped working correctly.
Yeah.
And then they all get on code and get back to work to getting the machine working right again. Okay, you're suffering. Everything is as it should be.
True.
You're not suffering. The only thing you can do with your not suffering is cause us to not make you suffer more. Better get back to work.
Brother Jason Black, thank you for everything. I definitely appreciate it. Thank you for your work.
Thank you for giving us a call. The biggest lie you could tell yourself is that they are ignorant of it, that they are unknowledgeable of it, that they are unknowing of it, that they don't really realize what's happening, that they don't really get it. Of course they do. People, Brother Neely Fuller, rest in power. What did he tell you? White supremacy's uniformity tells you that everybody knows about it. You couldn't have something that works this uniformly across the board if everyone wasn't aware and if everyone didn't have their marching orders and, most importantly, if everyone wasn't doing their part. It can't work so uniformly. Anywhere you go in America, it's uniform. Anywhere you go on Earth, it's uniform. That can't happen if a bunch of people are guessing their way through it and nobody's talking to each other and they don't know. It can't be this uniform when people are operating in ignorance. The only thing that can happen when people are operating in ignorance uniformly is chaos. You don't have uniform, organized anything in ignorance. You can't be ignorant and uniformly organized. You can be ignorant and uniformly chaotic, but you can't be ignorant and simultaneously uniformly organized. Y'all all got the same shoes, same colors, same badges, same vocabulary, same actions, same principles, but nobody knows anything? That's not the way uniformity works. And a bunch of folks who want to rationalize to themselves, these people can't be that bad. They can't be that evil. They can't be that. Yes, they can. So there are only those who know it and they're not okay. And then there's the rest. They know it. They're all right with it. As a matter of fact, they're proud of it. They would see no longer having barbarism and brutality as a negative. That's the mindset you're up against, that if they were not being brutal and barbaric, well, that would actually be a negative. Let me go ahead and see if we can get D in LA up here on Zoom, or D. Let's see if we can get D up here on Zoom. D, we'll give you a couple more moments here. I don't know if D stepped away from their phone or whatever. Wherever D is, we're looking for them. There you go. All right, D, what's on your mind?
Man, great broadcast. To bring it back from yesterday, if enough judges and politicians and other people would have been bought out instead of how you were saying, buying all the hookers and buying all the expensive lavishry and whatnot, then if this war was happening and whatnot, and all the ICE raids and whatnot, there'd still be a 10 toes down group of people that would still say, sure, that's a problem, but this is our cause. This is what we're doing because we follow the rule and the will of the people. But nobody's been bought off. Nobody's, on the side of Black empowerment. So here we are. We're either arguing about ICE raids, or arguing about, Iran with their war, or Tia Mowry talking about how on Juneteenth she, doesn't feel Black enough sometimes. Like, great broadcast.
Yeah, that's the thing right there. Folks are organized, quote unquote, behind the scenes. You want to talk about civic engagement. You don't have civic engagement until you are, for example, choosing and funding your own politicians. You don't have civic engagement until then. You're just fantasizing and sloganeering. Until you have choose them and then fund them, you ain't got it. You don't have it.
The Epsteins, everyone bought their politicians, so then why can't Black people do the same thing?
I mean,
to your point from yesterday.
I'm going to touch on the sore spot for some folks here, but I got to be brutally honest about it. Take a look at the money that was raised for Carmelo Anthony. And I'm not saying that should not be there, but by the way, boy, I wonder what politically that could do. In the right place, targeted. I wonder that happened in Texas. I wonder what politically that could do, because giving it to Pete Buttigieg ain't gonna do nothing. Just an idea. So it's not so much that folks don't know it. The thing is, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying, by the way, we need that energy in more than one place. We need that, brother. You don't even want me to get into something like, imagine what we could do with all them damn Beyonce tickets. Damn. Folks, how many folk have sat around, bragging about their Beyonce tickets and, how much they spent, and I don't mean to make life hard for them, but they're Chris Brown photographs. What? Come on, man. Come on. They're Chris Brown photographs. Chris is sitting up here. He gonna be flush with cash for life the way things have gone. So I'm not saying you can't get your Beyonce tickets. What I'm saying is, by the way, so did you spend all of it on Beyonce tickets? We ain't got nothing for some of this behind the scenes stuff? Because if white society and Asian society and Jewish society is like, yeah, we can go trick off some of it, but I better hold some back so I can give some to AIPAC and buy off the whole damn U.S. government. I'm like, okay, is that really an AIPAC problem or is that a you problem? They're doing what they're supposed to be doing. So is that an AIPAC issue or is that a you issue? I'll let you have the last word.
So what you're saying, Jason, is basically that Pete Buttigieg wouldn't be a good candidate for Black empowerment?
I've got my suspicions. I could be wrong, but for some reason I'm suspicious. I'm uncertain. He got to do some more to convince me. I don't know why. Call me biased, but there's something I can't quite put my finger on it, but something suspect. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Yeah, something's a little sus, but Pete Buttigieg, prime candidate for Black empowerment. I mean, he could be. He's got to put in some more work to convince me. For some strange reason, I'm suspicious. I can't quite put my finger on it, but for some odd reason, I am suspicious. Let me go ahead and see if we can get Kid from the Shy up here. Let me see if we can get Kid from the Shy up here. Kid from the Shy is, I guess, working on their connection. I'll give you a few moments here, Kid from the Shy, and then we're going to have to move on. Kid from the Shy, I'm not sure what's going on here. I can give you 2 more seconds, and then we have to move on. All right, Kid from the Shy has been abducted or is camera shy, so we'll move on from there. All right, we got Melissa here on Zoom. Melissa, what's on your mind?
Hi, good evening, Jason. So I've been listening to you for probably a good year now. And I
turn off your speakers, ma'am. If you got your YouTube on or something, you need to turn it off.
I just covered up my speaker. I'm sorry. So I just was listening to your broadcast earlier, and I know you express your personal beliefs on women wearing extensions and weaves and stuff like that. And
okay, baby, let me give you one more chance here. Turn your speakers off.
My speaker? Oh,
yes, ma'am. I can clearly hear myself.
Okay. I'm sorry. You were playing in the background. Can you hear me okay?
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. So your personal beliefs on women wearing weaves and everything, having mental disorders and everything. I know that you're entitled to your opinion and everything, but there's some women like myself that suffer alopecia. And my alopecia was caused because I was in the military and I constantly had to.
Okay, sister, that goes into the category of exceptions. Alopecia is not a common, typical, routine thing. As a matter of fact, for most women, when they do have that kind of thing, the issue we got now is traction alopecia, which is directly a result of playing around with their hair and stripping it back. So, like I say, folks, the not all thing is not really helpful. So, I mean, to somebody who has a legitimate issue of some kind, well, sure. Not everybody wants to do the Ayanna Pressley thing, and I understand that.
Yeah.
Nor am I demanding that they do that either, but let's be serious here. That's a very small part of the population. Most women are doing that by choice. They're not doing it because they have an issue with their hair. They're doing it because donkey see, donkey do.
okay. And, you know, I'm seeing more of it now than typical because everybody is wearing those wigs and don't understand the health of hair and don't understand that we do have sometimes underlying issues of autoimmune deficiencies that we don't know because of the food and everything else. So I was lucky to have a man that was like, oh, okay, I could deal with it, because a lot of them passed me up because of the issue of my hair. So I understand its preference, and you're saying that it's a small population, but I see that it's increasing. And
okay, well, let me go ahead and address that as well here. Well, first of all, to all the ladies out there, you know, for all the bald head ladies out there, understand something. Life is about balance, okay?
Yes.
I usually do this on my other YouTube channel, but let me go ahead and address this real quick. Men judge in 3 dimensions. We judge women from the neck up, we judge women from the neck down, and then we judge you all from head to toe. We don't ever look at females in one dimension. So, ladies, if the situation from the neck up, because some females don't have a pretty face card. You can be bald headed and got a pretty face card. So, I mean, it's just because you're bald headed does not mean, as men, we have a range as men. We don't have a type. Women have a type. This guy's too short, he's just disqualified. Men have a range. So you all are the ones who is this kind of guy or nothing. That's not the way it works for us as men. So what I'm saying is, if from the neck up there's a problem, from the neck down, if you're dynamite, it's going to even itself out. Amber Rose proved that. Amber Rose's skin tone, the truth about her is that her skin tone, even when she started coloring her hair, it made her look completely bald-headed was the thing. So even though she had a light fuzz of hair in her head, she was wearing it so low, she was pretty much damn looking bald-headed with that light skin tone. She was completely shaved bald. Okay, but the physique
goes into
she had the physique for the win. Let's not play around here. I got to give credit where it's due. Amber's body was banging like a battering ram when Kanye was on the scene. So let's not sell that short. So from the neck up, it's like, wow, do we even remember what she looked like? So what I'm going to say there is that, ladies, even if you do have that kind of issue, that gets balanced out. That gets balanced out. Now, it's one thing if we got issues from the neck up, one thing you got issues from the neck down. It can't be issues from head to toe. Now, there's where you get into trouble if there's just an issue from head to toe. That's going to be a problem. But, baby, let's just keep it real. I mean, if you built like Melissa Ford from 1997, you can be bald-headed as you want to be. Are you kidding me? Nobody saw your head. They were too busy looking at your jeans. It is what it is. So flat booties aren't it? Baby,
because there's black women that have no abs.
Okay, her life that's like a man with no hands. Your life gonna be a struggle. Your life is gonna be ladies, if you were born with no rear end, we love you, but life is gonna be a struggle. You're gonna be like the kid on the basketball team who can't hoop at all. The little kid with the thick glasses who can't hoop. You're just gonna be the last one we pick. You'll get on the team, you're just gonna be the last one. Hey, that's hierarchy. If we gotta live, especially we gotta live with that, baby, it costs a man to be with you. So if we got to keep you for life, it's like, wait a minute, the pastor is like, to have and to hold through sickness and health with no rear end till death do you part. Whoa, wait a minute. Wait, you didn't say that for the rest of my life, son. Did you think this over? The rest of your life, this is it. This surfboard built chick, this is the last stop.
Yeah.
Okay, prenup. If you ain't got one before you got to the altar, you think about prenup. So, ma'am, that's the way it goes. I mean, and you know full damn well. It's like if you were trying to date a guy who was 5'1". He's got a heart of gold. Can he pick you up and carry you across the threshold? You can pick up a spare tire and he can't. So I'm just saying, it's things like that. Yeah, it's a hierarchy, baby. Everybody got to struggle. The real thing is, did you give yourself one? Sewing hair on your head, you giving yourself a struggle. If you don't have an issue, you're giving yourself one. And all I'm saying is, no, it's not okay. It's not okay for a woman with a perfectly healthy head of hair to be acting like she's dealing with your issues. You have a reason. She's got none.
Yeah.
I wear glasses. Okay, that's nice and cool and everything. I don't wish everybody had to wear glasses.
Yeah.
It's an issue with your eyesight. That doesn't mean everybody need to wear glasses. No, no. This is a problem. This is a problem. I can acknowledge that that's a problem without, sitting up here getting my feelings about it, whatever. Hey, if you have to wear glasses, that's a shortcoming. That's an issue. Okay, but I have to do it. No, we should all wear glasses. Why? To make me feel better? First of all, it doesn't make me feel better. But why? That's a problem. So if somebody else is wearing glasses, they don't have to. Now we got a problem.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
It makes sense. It makes sense.
All right. Thank you very much. Give us a call tonight. Yeah, like I said, I mean, if you just running around throwing glasses on, okay, what is going on with you? Something wrong with your eyes? No, I think I look smart. You know what's really smart? Not messing with your eyes. That's really smart. Karen B, I don't understand what you mean, Karen. The times are changing. How? I don't understand. Folks are going to start wearing glasses who don't need them? Damn! I don't know, Karen B, can you clarify what that means? I don't understand. The times are changing. How? All right, let me go ahead and see if we can get Omari up here on Zoom. Omari, what's on your mind, brother?
B1, Brother Jason, thank you very much for having me on. Thank you for the great broadcast. This might be a question more suited for the business, but I'm a lifelong martial artist, and I just wanted to I was wanting to get your thoughts, maybe a deep dive on this John Jones situation. Not so much what you did for George Foreman, but if you haven't heard, he allegedly retired, and because speaking of Black people valuing themselves, say what you want about John Jones, he appears to be a extremely once in a lifetime talent, and that's not something that we're going to see again. So maybe just getting your thoughts.
Hopefully we won't.
Yeah, and that's
if
the thing.
We're lucky, we won't. Look, the bottom line is, as far as he is concerned, he's not a net positive for us.
No, not at all.
He didn't do anything for us when he was competing. We're not going to lose nothing when he leaves. He didn't do anything for us when he was here. We're not going to lose anything when he's gone. And that's the standard I hold it to. We gained something from George Foreman. We gained something from Ali. Hell, we gained something from Tyson. We didn't gain a damn thing from John Jones.
And he's not the only one. And here's my question. How is it that you can have these fighters who, and this has been a problem since Jack Johnson. How is it that these Black fighters can step into the ring and risk their lives and put their health on the line, but they can either play stupid or cower openly in the face of white supremacy? I recently heard something from Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson that made me so disappointed because I like this guy. He was talking with RG3 about how, oh, I don't date Black women. People joke with me about, why are you messing with snow bunnies? Demetrius Johnson says, oh, because I don't want to play in the mud. I don't want to play in the dirt. It's just like I thought, I'm sitting there thinking this whole time, this guy has fight IQ. He's intelligent. I've seen what he does in the octagon. How can he say something so dumb? How can people like him and Jones, how can you have fighters who are cowardly coons? And I know this is not new, but it seems different.
Okay. Let me check something here. All right. Demetrius Johnson is 5'3".
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you think this could be a person who might start exhibiting or expressing some emotional issues?
But Jones is the opposite.
Where females are concerned. So
true.
He's talking about a fellow who's 5'3" talking about there's females that he rejects. I'm like, okay, bro, show me all the Black women lined up. Show me where they lined up. Just show me where they are. Okay.
You're not wrong.
So
you're not wrong.
That's my response to that one.
Okay. I feel you there. And then this ties into this question, going back to the topic of Black people valuing themselves. Jason, how can who else but Black women can take back power in the Black nail and beauty industry? Can we talk about how Black women talk a good game about supporting each other, but at the end of the day, the only reason why Koreans have this iron grip on our Black women's hair care is because Black women do not support their own beautician and nail businesses. Like,
well, I mean, they certainly there's certainly been others. The real thing is, and I covered this in my documentary 7 a.m. So we've had some others that came up and stuff, and they got bought out. So a lot of people are playing the capitalism game. Are we referring to Fenty? Are we referring to that? Because is that Black owned? Does that qualify or does it not qualify? You see what I mean? So there's a number of different ways we could look at that. Certainly, it should be owned as much as it can be by the folk who built it or the customers of it, because who in the hell could know it better than we do? Does it lie solely at the feet of Black women? Well, most of your cosmetic companies are not owned by women to begin with, and that's been since the beginning. Mm-hmm. Most of your cosmetic, hair care, makeup, most of those were never owned by women to begin with. Those were owned by men throughout history. So does it rely on that? No. All it really takes is somebody who's got the right idea, the right vision, the right marketing angle, and the right funding, no matter who it is. So no, it is not dependent on Black women to do that. Historically, it's never been dependent on women to provide their own makeup and hair care products. That's usually all been spearheaded by and financed by men to begin with.
I was speaking more in terms of like actual cosmetic places, like nail shops. Like, can you like
same answer?
Okay,
right. Because all that is real estate. So you can make a string of 7-Elevens, you can make a string of Family Dollars, you can make a string of chicken wings, you can make a string of hair care stores. As a matter of fact, you have that going on now. So if somebody actually had a cohesive whole for it, who knows? Maybe private equity will do just like they do with everything else and come along and buy them all up, So if you have enough of them together. So it's just another piece of real estate.
Jason, if you permit me one more question, please. And this goes into the topic of war, and it kind of relates to the last weekend's broadcast. You had that very disappointing conversation with the man from Trinidad, and he was beating around the bush in a very cowardly way about why the Black majority won't rise up and put their foot down on their reparations that are owed to them by the European powers. And it was obvious that he was scared of some sort of military retaliation. And can you talk on that? Can you finally, I'm the type of person, I want to skip to the end of the book. Is the reason why the Black diaspora, the reason why they don't want to stand up, are they legitimately afraid of the possibility of nuclear retaliation? Like, let's just cut the BS. Are they afraid that if they...
They're not afraid of nuclear retaliation. They are afraid of perspiration. What? I mean, let's just keep it real. There's no gunman threat involved. It just is, are you going to put in the effort? And really? There are the things that they're willing to put in the effort for and the things that they're not willing to put in any effort for. Brother, when you are willing to put in the work necessary to swim from Jamaica in the Caribbean to Jamaica, Queens, that's worth that level of effort, but you cannot apply that effort where your feet were back where you were from. That's not a problem of fear of physical retaliation. This is a matter of values and principles. That takes a lot of damn work to make it from the Caribbean to New York. That takes a lot of damn work and even a lot more work to get yourself solidified there. So that level of effort was not worth it where you came from because it was worth it to us. We faced lynching, domestic terrorism, blowing up our towns. We didn't sit up here and say, damn, I'm out of here to Canada. There were a few who went to Canada. The overwhelming majority of us are still right here. The biggest repository of Black folk is still the Southern United States. So anybody trying to lie and say we all ran up north or out west, by the way, the largest population is still Southern United States. So, like I say, that's never been us. That's never what we did. That was never the principle. For other folk, that became migrating out became a way of life. That was just never a way of life for us, no matter what occurred. So when you've adopted that as a way of life, That's it. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. We appreciate that. And the real thing is to confront that and take a look at that so that you recognize, hey, that's kind of a thing going on. That's kind of a thing going on. In the chat room, I don't know. I might have, I don't know. I have to think about this here. I might have her give me a call up. It depends. I might have Karen B give me a call up. I might do that. To Eliza there, to Eliza, you do your own hair and nails. That's great. That's wonderful. A woman should be able to do her own hair and nails if she needs to. Absolutely. However, you will never be able to do your own hair and nails as well as somebody who went to school for it, trained for it, is a professional addict and can see and handle you from the outside looking in.
And deal with it.
I mean, this is the difference between an amateur and a professional. So that's great. That's wonderful. If you can maintain those things yourself, that's fine. Every woman should be able to. However, this is the difference between you detailing your car and contacting a professional detailer. This is the difference between you and them. Let me give you a brief example. I shouldn't say this. I really shouldn't say this. But for my patrons on my other YouTube channel, I dropped game to them a little while ago here. You know, yeah, all of us have water hoses, at least I hope you do. If you own a car, okay, you got water hoses. But if you have black cars, if your car has a black paint job, if you're using regular water, you're going to have water spots. I don't care what you do, you're going to have water spots. Well, for a professional detailer, even if they're a mobile detailer, well, what they do is they have resin filters. They're called deionizers. A lot of y'all, first time you ever hearing about this. But if you own an exotic or a luxury car, especially with a black paint job, usually you're scrambling to rinse it off and then scrambling to wipe the water off of it so that you don't get water spots. And if you're in sunlight, nothing you can do. But for a professional detailer, they have a device, you know, it's a resin filter called a deionizer. And so you run the water through that and it takes out the minerals and things. And so basically you can let it air dry. It doesn't have water spots anymore. The water has been treated and now it doesn't have water spots. So instead of running around with microfiber towels or chamois to dry it off, you can let it air dry. Now, the average person doesn't know that, and they're not going to go spend a few $100s to get a resin filter unless they have a car that's really valuable enough to do that. But a professional knows. So while you're sitting there washing your car and racking up water spots over the years, that professional knows something that you don't. So he can wash the same car in the middle of the street out in sunlight, and he gets a gleam and finish and no water spots when he's done. And you're like, damn, Hammer, how you do it? Hammer, how you do it? So that's the difference between a professional versus a self-taught person. When you're dealing with an industry, people get together. They compare notes. They confer with each other. They learn different techniques because that's their profession. So over time, they're refining their techniques, refining their knowledge base, learning new things and how to deal with it. That's what a professional does, especially one who's keeping up, to speed on their craft. So if you have a top-notch hairstylist, they know what they're doing. They're keeping up to date on the latest trends. They know their chemicals. They're not sitting up here bleaching your hair crazy because it's got the wrong damn acidic content in it. If they know what they're doing, that's because they're learning it. So there's benefits to having access to a professional. If you got to go to a black tie event or a special event, you want a professional to take care of your hair. You want them to do that because you're going to be looked at from 360 degrees. You want somebody who does this for a living. They're a professional. They built to handle it. They're going to make sure everything is in place. You don't have to sit up and hold this mirror behind your head so you can see the mirror in front of you and try to get stuff at a crazy angle. I mean, that's all right for some things, but if you really want a platinum plated job, you need somebody else to do that. It's very good to have that. That's the number one explanation. Here's number two. Number two explanation is community. You see, females are not all gossipy and catty when they have community. So you want to talk about safe spaces? You need a space for females to get together. More importantly, y'all need a space where y'all get together and critique each other. Other chicks ain't on code. If it's expected of her to go get her hair done, she's got to be amongst other women. So if her hair is looking like damn me plucky duck, or looking like one of the damn treasure trolls or trolls from back in the day, that's why she needs to go get her hair done on a regular basis, so she can sit in a salon chair and be amongst other women, so that we can start comparing notes. So they're sitting there looking at her. They're looking at her out the side of their eye. She starts feeling some kind of way because she realizes she is not up to code. She realizes she's not up to code. And she needs to be in situations where she realizes that folks are looking at her talking about, damn, did you comb your hair with a salad fork? Damn. She needs to be there with other females, staring her up and down, looking at her shoes, looking at her pants, looking at her waistline. Yes, you all need to regularly encounter other females. Just like men, when men get together, I've talked about this before, with men, we sitting there on them 22s with the chrome on it. Oh, it's got to be up to code. Where do you think I learned about that stuff? You got to have your mother's chrome polish, not my mom's chrome polish, mother's. Make sure the interior is straight. Make sure everything is waxed up like it needs to be. And oh yeah, for me, make sure you got a deionizer. Oh, trust me, buddy, in the gleaming sunlight, it's going to be everything's going to be in place. Everything. Is your tire shine together? Oh, you're not up to code, bruh. You're not up to code. Everything else is okay, but your tires are all looking all faded and dusty. Oh, brother, you almost made it. You ain't up this hierarchy. We make a distinction between the guy who knew how to put the tire shine on and you didn't. Oh, bruh, look, it is what it is. This is math. His tires are wet looking. You're not. He's higher on the hierarchy. It is what it is. And that is a good thing. Step your game up. There's levels to this. There's hierarchy. Everybody doesn't get a trophy. Everybody doesn't get admired. This is why, as a man, if your chick is up to code, we don't have a problem paying for hair and nails on a broad that's up to code. Did you say broad? I damn sure did.
And deal with it, nigga.
If your broad is up to code, we ain't got no problem paying for that got to be done because she represents me. If we pay for it, we are trying to reinforce to her, by the way, you represent me. I paid for that as a reminder to you. You got to get this done, not for you. You're getting this done for me. I might have to get up in a moment's notice. I can't send you to the damn nail salon in a moment's notice. You're supposed to stay on top of that. So if I jump up and decide I want to go somewhere and do something, you're ready. You don't have to get ready. You're already there. That's why women need to go to the salon, go to the nail place, so that everybody understands, baby, you make sure you staying up to code. You got big fingers and chipped nails. Life is hard enough as it is. So it's like, okay, I can tell you ain't been there in a minute. Yes, you need to do that on a regular basis. That needs to be routine. So you're sitting among not a bunch of men, because men will grade you on the curve. Because fellas, what did I just say? If you're one of these chicks, you're one of these females, you don't have any female friends. All of your friends are males. Well, hell yeah, men got a range. I mean, if you're just one of them chicks, you just naturally built nice, your body is, thumping. No, the niggas ain't concerned about your hair like that. Oh, you can walk around bald, like I said. Fellas ain't really critiquing your hair like that. He's looking at the rest of you. He's like, man, damn a hairdo. Do you see from the ears down? That heifer can look like Mr. Clean. Fellas ain't thinking about that if everything else is just thumping. It's like, oh yeah, we can bypass the hair salon. So you can't have a bunch of men. Women can't depend on men for that. Most men are not good for that. She needs to be among a bunch of women. The other women are not concerned about how thumping she might be, although that does come into play. It's like, yeah, if the hair ain't together, it's like, yeah, baby, from the neck down, you're all right, but that hair, you looking like Doc Brown from Back to the Future. What? Damn! So yes, you need to have spots like that where you can check in to make sure you up to code. You're in the presence of other women. And if other women looking at you got you feeling self-conscious, you know you're not up to code. And you need to be doing that so that you make sure you get yourself right. Make sure you get yourself right. So yes, going to the hair salon isn't just a rite of passage. It's always been. Going to the hair salon is important as part of your female maintenance, and the maintenance is also mental. Did you check in? Did you go and make sure you right for that? Have you compared yourself to other women to make sure you ain't just telling yourself you up to code? You've been walking amongst them and you can prove I'm up to code. I'm on point. Yes, you need to have places where you're surrounded by other females so that we can go ahead and check the paperwork. Because females like to hang out with dudes, and they know she got a hair weave with the glue showing, and there's plenty of fellas lined up. She goes among the females, and it's like, oh, hell no. Girl, where'd you get that? Yes, that's exactly what we need. We need that right there. Because you are an ultra luxury product. There is nothing like a black female, dark skinned, shimmering with no blemishes. That just hits on a whole different level, period. Okay, but just understand, the darker the berry, the higher the standard. Damn! Please understand that. The darker the berry, the higher the standard, baby. What floats for everybody else is not going to float for you. The little high yellow chicks can come through the door looking like an 80s hair band. And if you're a dark-skinned female, it takes more. For you to be on point, takes more. More is required from you. In the chat room, Kyle, I'm so glad you said that, ma'am. Let me go ahead and get you up here on Zoom now. And that was not a request. I'm so glad you said that. So glad you said that. Kai, K-Y-E, thank you very much for that. I appreciate that. Let me go ahead and get you up here on Zoom, ma'am. So glad you weighed in on that. I was just getting ready to take things down, but let me go ahead and pop that right back up here for just a minute. Let me get up here for just a minute. Let me go ahead and get Kai up here. I will love to get your further details about it. Let me go ahead and give you a couple of minutes here. And thank you very much for weighing in. They were on the chat room. Let me go ahead and get you on the Zoom now. Since you're already online, all you got to do is hit the Zoom link, sit back, smile, and dial. While we're waiting on you for that, I'd like to thank everyone who's contributed to tonight's program on PayPal, Super Chat, Venmo. Shout out to my man Keenan, Mr. Cochran, Nancy, to LIL. Dark-skinned pretty women are the best in my book and the best in all the books, brother. Thank you very much for that. We appreciate that. And to everyone else here who's contributed to tonight's program, thank you very much for your support there as well. We haven't had, a lot of the ancestors have moved on and whatnot. And so who is it who's going to update the files and talk about this on a regular basis? And it's important for us to have these conversations where we are right here. Playing some old YouTube videos is nice. Playing some old YouTube videos is great. Playing some old YouTube videos from back in the day, that's good. And they're still relevant. But it's also important for us to have an ongoing conversation. It's important for us to have these conversations amongst ourselves, not just a one-way conversation on YouTube watching a video, but to have these two-way conversations amongst ourselves. And by the way, can you talk your way through this? Is there a logical argument? Does it actually make sense? Is this just somebody's opinion, or is this actually a real thing? Is this just one person's thoughts on this, or is this actually a real thing that holds up to scrutiny? Did you question the source and check to see, by the way, is this just the way they feel about it, or is this actually a real concrete thing? It's like, wow, hey, there's actually a concrete logical basis to this. There actually is. There actually is. It's important to not let folk tell you that you're not competing, because you are. Dr. Claude Anderson taught us this, that you live in a competitive world. But yeah, you're also competitive as men and females. We are also competitive as individuals. Yeah, there's standards to this. An organism that is not competitive will not be able to survive. An organism that is not competitive will not be able to survive. That's the issue. So when somebody sits up here and starts patting you on the back and encouraging you to be less competitive, then what they're doing is edging you and easing you towards extinction. Nah, damn that. You have to qualify for this, and you have to qualify to have even better, because there are levels to life. All quality of life is not the same. There's a reason why we have the term quality of life. There's a reason that we have the term quality of life, because everybody's quality of life is not the same. There's levels to it. Some folks really are living better than others. Yeah, they really are. Burying your head in the sand and living in delusion, that doesn't change that. It doesn't change it. I don't give a damn who you are. If you're somebody who sleeps under the trees at night, you are not going to be as good or effective a student or an employee as somebody who slept in a warm bed under a roof last night. I don't care what you think of yourself. If you had to sleep in a ditch last night, if you had to sleep in a sewer, if you had to sleep under an overpass, you are not going to be as good or effective a student or an employee as somebody who was sleeping in their luxury apartment last night. You just won't. You just won't. It's not possible. You might be able to function, but the bottom line is you will not be able to function as well as they do. That's not a matter of opinion or perspective. That's just physics. Where is Kai, folks? Where is Kai? Where are you at, Kai? It doesn't take this long to be on Zoom. It doesn't take that long to get there. Let's not do that. Remember, when you can't defend your points, you've automatically debunked it. If you cannot or will not defend the very point that you yourself made, just remember, I didn't debunk it, you did. So remember, you're the one who invalidates your point, not me. I'm not invalidating your statement, you do. If you say something and then, well, I can't defend it. Okay, well, I don't have to invalidate it. You did. Some of the immature Sesame Street children go floating through things. They get real self-conscious. Some of the size 16 females, they don't like it when you have this kind of conversation. I'm just like, hey, baby, don't get in your feelings about it. Don't get in your feelings about it. This is a real, tangible thing. Deflecting is not going to put you on point. Please do not deceive yourself or delude yourself into thinking that if I deflect, we can change the subject. Actually, no, you can't. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. Let me get over here on Zoom. I got Roscoe here on Zoom. This is not Kai, but anyway, what's on your mind, Roscoe?
Hey, what's up, Jason Black? I think when it comes to reparations, just like you said on yesterday's show, that's what we need cut the check. We need to be focused on. I believe we just have to do a boycott. We got to boycott all the celebrity, all the sports events as a collective, as Black people. We really have to we got to focus on reparations. This has to get done. I'm here in Illinois, and I'm kind of going over our General Assemblies and just seeing what they're doing with a HB 1227 General Assembly bill. And I'm looking at that status, and it's a redress reparations. And then Chicago, that mayor just signed something, executive order. He wants to do a reparations. And
well, here's the thing. A lot of folks are using those words and using those terms,
right?
And they become kind of like slogans and things. So when you dig into the details, that's when you start finding out that they're putting the word reparations there, and that's supposed to placate us. And that's supposed to, humor us and, okay, we'll see, we're addressing the issue. And then you take a look at what they're saying and get into details. And it's like, by the way, this isn't addressing anything. So there's where we're getting the problems with that. As far as, boycotting events and things like that, sure, that's cool. That's great. That's wonderful. I don't go to those kind of things. I don't endorse that. I think it's a waste of time. We have a lot of other serious issues out here. But then again, we have serious issues in a number of different places. Right. So with that being the case, my issue with it is that people use those kind of things as distractions and a salve to keep themselves medicated and narcotized. Because it'd be different if they were leaving the Beyonce concert and then getting out here and putting in work. It'd be different if they were leaving there and becoming more disciplined. That's not what's happening. So that's my issue with it. I wouldn't have, because Elon Musk got baby mamas all over the damn place, and yet he's 10 toes down for white supremacy and defending it and, financing it and every damn thing else. So he's not letting, some of that foolery that he gets into there get in the way of when he finished with them chicks, he gets back to work about what he's supposed to be doing. So there's where the issue comes in. Also, one more thing, Roscoe, you might be new around here, but just remember here, we only have one call per weekend. So going into it, just remember that as well. Thank you very much for giving us a call. I'll let him go ahead and speak here tonight. But by the way, on the Black channel here, remember we do one call per weekend. So if you called in yesterday on Saturday, please don't call back on Sunday to make sure we got other folks to get through there. I don't see Kai, by the way, y'all. Where is Kai? I don't see Kai. We're waiting on Kai, but there is no Kai. Let's be clear right now. Some of the big body chicks out there, when they hear us having this conversation about the females being on point, ma'am, that does not change the subject. She's like, I'll be damned. Let's change that damn subject. Kai, we're talking about what the women need to be doing, and then you're doing the LGBT thing and saying, let's stop talking about the women and let's talk about the men. Come on now. Let's not do that. If we're having the moment here to focus on the women, stop trying to change the subject and say, we need to talk about the men. No, we don't. We're right where we need to be. Now, some ladies do not like that being the subject of discussion because they feel a little bit self-conscious. I think she was feeling a little bit self-conscious when I said, by the way, just because you go to the hair salon, it doesn't help you for your hair to be a 10 and your body is a 20. Cookie! You're at the hair salon and the stylist has to, brush the crumbs off you from Aunt Annie's. I mean, I can understand you're a little self-conscious. You're a little self-conscious because the stylist had to, brush off some of the crumbs from Krispy Kreme. And you were just like, hell, I'm just here to get my hair did. And the stylist is like, okay, I can do your hair. I can do your hair here right after I get these French fries out of it. Damn. Right after I get this French fry grease off your hair, I can put some conditioner in it. Right after I do that. So Kai is feeling a little bit self-conscious. She's feeling some kind of way. She's feeling some kind of way. Feeling some kind of way. I understand. Some folks are in their feelings. I understand. Some of the chicks are in their, look here, ladies, I mean, it starts, I know this hair salon, it starts there. Some of the females are in their feelings. Yeah, they haven't had a pair. The men are staring, just not for good reasons. So some of the chicks are in their feelings. It's not changing. Standards are standards. If you feel self-conscious, do something about it. Okay, but the do something about it is not complaining to me. As a woman, you're supposed to be, light and svelte. When we see you, we're supposed to think of a slick, lightweight sports car. We're not supposed to think of a Ford F-350. You hit the horn. That's not the way it's supposed to be. So if you're in your feelings, if it makes you feel some kind of way, I mean, there's something to be done about that. Yes, you're an ultra luxury product, but you might not be a very well maintained ultra luxury product. You might be that old bag that was put in the closet and been stepped on, and people have been using it to change oil on the car. So yeah, you might be a Prada bag, but if you're the Prada bag that people been taking to Piggly Wiggly and putting their groceries in, because they don't want to give you plastic bags in California, so you're like, okay, let me grab my Prada bag. I mean, you're an ultra luxury product, but you might be that Lamborghini with the stickers on it. You might be that Lamborghini with the stickers on it. So Jason talking about this got you feeling a little self-conscious. Why you got to say that? I don't like this. If you put some of that indignation into 24-hour fitness, you wouldn't be so hard to deal with.
Nigga, please.
I'm just saying. That's some of that energy right there. Some of y'all are wannabe tethers here. You putting all your energy in the wrong damn places. It's about effort. The effort that you put into being offended by what I said, you could have put that offense into some barbell curls. If you would put some of that indignation into some cardio and a vegan diet, you'd actually feel a whole lot better about what I'm saying and better about life. Jason, I thought you said the vegans were hoes. I mean, they hoes who understand. If I'm going to get top quality hoeing, I can't be a size 16 and get it. Ooh, you're a hoe with a plan. Vegans are hoes with a strategy. I can't be mad at that. A vegan is a hoe with a strategy. So, can't be mad about that. I mean, she has a life strategy. Wow, she got a game plan. She's not guessing her way through this. All right. So there were some folks who were a little bit offended by what I said. Don't say that. Feel some kind of way. What about skinny women? Like I said, I mean, if you're built like a telephone pole, it's built like a surfboard, life might be difficult on you. So you can go too far the other way too. I'm skinny. Okay, well. She's wearing jeggings and you can hear them flapping. What? I'll get the chick who wears the jeggings and oh boy, they're flapping on her. So just keep in mind here, there's levels to this. Put in the work, put in the time. It does matter. You're an ultra luxury product. Keep it maintained. Nobody wants the damn Ferrari that's been sitting in the barn for 30 years and the rats have eaten up all the wiring and The birds have built nests all over it, and the seats are all ripped up from the local puppies coming and chewing on it. Come on, man. Get your act together. We're going to go ahead and wrap things up here tonight. If you are new here to the Black Channel, welcome to the Haven of Intelligent Black Thought. We do this every weekend, holidays, some days in between. Click that red subscribe button. Click that yellow notification bell. Join us each and every time that we're here. If you haven't been to our website, blackchannelfilms.com, check out our groundbreaking best-selling documentary work, blackchannelfilms.com. That is blackchannelfilms.com. I'd like to thank all of you for tuning in to tonight's program, live or recorded. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and sharing. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. And until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember, Black is the future, and the future is uncompromising.